Hemant, we cannot hear you. Joseph, can you please unmute the mic?
Yeah, can you hear us now?
Yes, now we can hear you. Thank you.
You can hear now.
So the GET is developed by UNFCCC and UNEP and GORD to promote the carbon neutrality, carbon emission reductions in the events. And as you know, event industry is a very big industry which has huge potential for carbon reductions. And so that's why this collaboration we are taking it and with the JMIC. So I think we should go ahead with the signing. Then GED is a web-based platform designed to assess and improve the sustainability and the environmental performance of the. And then we will have a lot of discussions how we can contribute in the GET and how the events can take the help of GET to become the and contribute for the decarbonization. So that is the web-based tool. And then yes. Thank you very much. So James and Kishore. Thank you. Hold it. Joseph, what is done? Thank you, James.
So just
Yeah. Alex.
Sam.
Yes, please. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm sorry. One of them.
Let us move towards our session now. So to start with, I would like to just give some additional here. Now, as we have signed the MOU, that means I would like to mention here that to recognizing the urgent need for the unified industry efforts, the joint meeting industry, that is the JMIC, along with the prominent meeting and the event industry, related association organizations launched the net zero carbon events, that is NZCE initiative. And then I think that this is the initiative which we are looking for to have a big collaboration and to contribute for the decarbonization. So now to start with the opening remark, I would like to invite for the welcome remarks Mr. Suri News. He is the program officer at the UNFCCC Secretariat, and he has more than 15 years of experience in governments and the UNFCCC. Currently serves as the program officers in the engagement subdivision of the UNFCCC Secretariat. So, Mr. Suri, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. It's an honor to welcome you to the session. Oops. Focused on advancing sustainability in the global events industry. My name is Suri News, and as a program officer at the UNFCCC, I've seen firsthand how partnerships and practical tools can drive the change we urgently need to meet global climate goals. Today, we are here to take a significant step forward with a formal signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between GORD and the Net Zero Carbon Events Initiative. The partnership is not only strengthens our shared commitment to sustainability, but marks a powerful alignment with the goals of the Paris Agreement. The events industry, valued at over $1 trillion in 2019 and set to nearly double by 2028, is growing rapidly. With this growth, however, comes a profound responsibility. As an industry, you have a unique role and indeed a unique opportunity to lead by example. By adopting more sustainable, low-carbon practices, you can substantially reduce the environmental impact of the sector, helping to achieve net zero emissions by 2050. On Monday, during his opening speech, our Thanks. On Monday, during his opening speech, our Executive Secretary stressed the importance of moving forward with mitigation. And so I find this partnership. Will I go closer? And so I find the partnership inaugurated today a good example of the steps and actions we need to take. Through the Net Zero Carbon Events Initiative, industry stakeholders have come together to commit to this net zero future. Today's session will allow us to hear directly from NZCE about their methodology, roadmap, and ambitious goals. In parallel, the Green Events School, a collaboration between GORD, UNEP, and UNFCCC, is providing event organisers with a powerful tool to assess, manage, and track the environmental impacts of events. Recognised as one of the top tools in the field, it brings a flexible, comprehensive framework that helps organisers not only measure their progress, but make meaningful strides towards reducing emissions. This collaboration is about more than just tools or frameworks. It's about equipping organisations with a clear, actionable pathway to sustainability. By aligning the resources and expertise of both the NZCE initiative and GET, we're ensuring that event organisers have the support that they need to set sustainability targets and effectively manage their net zero journey. Today, I hope that each of us is inspired to take further tangible actions towards decarbonising our events, working together to build a low-carbon, sustainable future. Thank you for being here, for your commitment, and for the leadership you continue to show in making this industry a model of climate action. Thank you.
Thank you, Suri. It's been a great collaboration going on from last 4 years. We started with the UNFCCC, UNEP, and developed this tool, GET. So moving towards the next, I would like to request Asa Elizabeth. She is the project manager at UNEP and would like to give for the inaugural speech. Asa is a project manager for environmental management at the UN Environment Program Sustainable United Nations Initiative, an environmental engineer, and has an experience of more than 15 years in energy, environment, and climate. And since 2023, she is working with this collaboration of GET with the UNFCCC and GORD. So I would like to hand over the dais to Esa. Can you hear?
Thank you, and
Thank you.
thank you to GORD colleagues and UNFCCC for inviting me to present at this side event at the COP to provide some opening remarks. I would also like to thank you for the good collaboration over the years between the three of us, the GORD, UNFCCC and UNEP, on this green events tool. Will you be sharing my slides or should I share?
Yeah.
Thank you. As mentioned, my name is also Elizabeth Tainal and I work for the Sustainable United Nations in UNEP. We are an interagency support and coordination function for UN entities on greening initiatives. We can move to the next slide, please. So in our network, we gather over 50 UN entities. And we work together on an initiative called Greening the Blue that is spearheaded by UNEP, but all of these 50 entities take part in Greening the Blue. We work on many focus areas, sustainable events being one key area. Thank you. You can move to the next slide. We support UN entities in measuring their environmental impact, reducing the same, improving environmental performance, and communicating the results and efforts via the annual Greening the Blue report. You can find more information on this report on the greeningtheblue.org. On sustainable events, which is a key area for us to focus on as the UN organizes many large meetings, work is focused in several areas. This collaboration on the green events tool being one key area. We provide the sustainable events checklist, which is in the tool and will be updated during this year. We organize working groups in the UN system to exchange best practice and knowledge exchange on greening events. And we update tools and guidances on, for example, virtual and hybrid meetings. So we are very much looking forward to continuing our collaboration with GORD and UNFCCC on the green events tool and welcome you to visit our website, greeningtheblue.org. Thank you and looking forward to the rest of the session. Back to you, Joseph. Thank you.
From Mr. James Rees, President JMIC. Mr. James is the President of the Joint Meeting Industry Council, advocating globally for the meetings and the event sector. With over 25 years of the event organization and the venue management experience, he is part of the executive team of the Excel London, leading the commercial strategies and promoting the Middle East for AD and NEC. Previously, James served as ICCA President and organized major events at venues like Wembley Stadium. I'd like to invite him and then in the floor.
Thank you. First of all, thank you to the guests that we gather today and all of the stakeholders. As you've said in your opening remarks, I do stand here with two roles. Firstly, as President of JMIC, the Joint Meetings Industry Council, but secondly, as Executive Director at Excel London, which is, as you've mentioned, part of the ADNEC group. Now, both Excel and ADNEC are already signatories to the Net Zero Carbon Events Pledge, and as a group, we are financial contributors. We do commit our finances because we value the work of the pledge and its development as the one truly recognised movement of its type for our industry. For context, the Joint Meetings Industry Council is a global organisation that represents the combined interests of major international industry associations in the meetings and business events sectors. JMIC advocates for the industry's impact, its value and sustainability on a global level, and is the host organisation for the Net Zero Carbon Events Initiative. And we will, in fact, be hearing from two JMIC members later in this session from UFI and from IFA. I welcome the opportunity today to recognise and to celebrate the signing of the MOU between JMIC and GORD. Arguably, sustainability and the drive to net zero is the single most important factor affecting the business events industry, and rightly so. We know the value of our industry in terms of the economic and societal benefits it can and does bring to venues, destinations and countries. But that is the reason why the Net Zero Carbon Events Initiative is so important, so that we can demonstrate that we are an industry that not only delivers those tangible values and legacies, but that we also do so in a forward-looking and responsible way. That is why today marks such an important milestone in our journey to decarbonise our industry. The Green Events Tool has been developed by the UNFCCC and UNEP and managed by GORD. It is significant that the GET tool and the Net Zero Carbon Events Initiative were both launched at the COP26 conference in Glasgow in 2021. And it is therefore timely that we come together today, 3 years later, to combine our efforts to further develop the necessary tools for our common purpose. GET is a tool that has already been used to measure the carbon footprint of UN conferences and the last FIFA World Cup. And it will now begin integrating the measurement methodology developed by Net Zero Carbon Events for the business events industry, which will in turn enhance GET's capabilities and align them with our industry's specific needs. The MOU we have signed today signifies our shared commitment to harmonise methodologies and to embed the frameworks developed by Net Zero Carbon Events into GET. As a truly global organisation, JMIC is delighted to be able to make this announcement on behalf of the business events industry, which paves the way for consistent and robust reporting methodology that is endorsed by the UNFCCC and recognised by governments in all regions of the world. As host of the Net Zero Carbon Events Initiative, our immediate focus will be towards recommendation of this tool for the meetings and congress sectors of the business events industry in the first instance. This will be followed by a further implementation stage intended to extend the tool's application to the exhibition industry by integrating additional methodologies unique to that sector, for example, production, waste and logistics. The business events industry is a highly complex one, and reaching this milestone today has been a significant challenge. Perhaps I might share a quote from the great Nelson Mandela, who said, "It always seems impossible until it's done." In summary, this is a great day for the business events industry, and I would like to take the opportunity to pay tribute to all the stakeholders who have worked to reach this point, and in particular to thank the UNFCCC, UNEP and GORD representatives for their dedication and friendship in reaching this milestone. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Once again, thanks to James and JMIC for this collaboration and this initiative of the net zero carbon events, which has a target of making the events carbon neutral by 2050. Now to moving ahead, then to the next, let us move towards the now sessions of the presentation session. And I would like to invite the first presenter of this session, Mr. Alexander. He is the Executive Director at JMIC, and he will be sharing the key insights on the milestones of the net zero carbon events. Alexander oversees the overall operation of JMIC, including leading the net zero carbon events project office. Before joining JMIC, he has held diverse roles in marketing and finance, primarily focused on promoting investments and trade between the Europe and Asia. Throughout his career, Alexander has organized numerous business events ranging from the small meetings to the large conference. So welcome, Alexander, and then hand over the things to you.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. It's really a pleasure to be here at COP in Baku. And I would like to welcome everyone here, of course, on the spot, but also everyone who is joining online. Really a great pleasure to be closer. Okay. Really a great pleasure to be here and talk about the Net Zero Carbon Events Initiative. And as you know, that James mentioned already, the initiative was created 3 years ago at COP26 in Glasgow, and we have come quite a long way. And I would like to present some milestones which we have achieved along the way. Second. Okay, perfect. So as I mentioned, the initiative was created because the business events industry understood that we have, as an industry, a big role to play in terms of addressing the climate crisis. We are responsible for a big chunk of the emissions which are created, but we also recognize that we need to be part of the solution, which is why initially 3 associations from the business events industry came together and launched this initiative. This was AIPC, ICA, and UFI. And I really want to stress that the whole initiative of these 3 associations was really a milestone in addressing the climate change, because obviously we wanted to focus on decarbonization, and this is what we are achieving until today. We have started with only a couple of associations and a couple of stakeholders, and today we are a true movement of true global movement of more than 700 different stakeholders from 61 countries. So at COP26 in Glasgow, we have released the Net Zero Carbon Events Pledge. And the pledge of the Net Zero Carbon Events is very much linked and aligned with the Paris Agreement, which means that in essence, you would like to, if you sign the pledge, you would like to achieve net zero by 2050, and you would also like to halve the emissions by 2030. But in order to understand that you are actually halving it, obviously, logically speaking, you need to measure these emissions. And the Memorandum of Understanding, which we've been signing today, is a crucial moment in achieving exactly this. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, that's perfect. At COP27 in Sharm el-Sheikh, we have launched the roadmap of the business events industry on how this decarbonization will be actually achieved. Now, our industry is very complex. We have a lot of stakeholders and a lot of fragmentation which is taking place within the business events industry. So until this roadmap was actually launched, there was no clarity on which stakeholder group is actually responsible for what kind of emissions. And the roadmap tapped exactly into this question mark. And thanks to this roadmap, the industry has a clear definition what kind of emissions there are and who is responsible for these emissions. The roadmap focused on 5 priority action areas where our business events industry should focus the decarbonization process. And this was venue energy, this was production and waste, logistics, travel and accommodation, as well as food and food waste. So these 5 priority action areas are clearly described in the roadmap. In May last year, we have released a set of best practices which really underlines different best practices which are out there already and are aligned with the 5 priority action areas which I just described. In June last year, we have also launched the first reporting cycle. Now, I will talk about the reporting a little bit later in my presentation towards the end, but I would like to mention that reporting is an extremely important element within our initiative because this all very much is connected to the accountability of every signatory, but also accountability as the initiative as a whole. Last year in December, all the 5 priority action areas released the guidance documents, which are available on the Net Zero Carbon Events website. But we have also released 2 additional documents, which are quite important to our industry. A guidance document on carbon offsetting, and also a document on measurement methodology. This measurement methodology is one of the cornerstones of our work. And yet again, with the help of this methodology, we bring another clarification element to our industry. And the measurement methodology plays also an important component, which serves as the basis for standards and certifications in order to achieve credible improvements, not only based on best practices, but actually on actual data. And I have mentioned that we have quite a lot of resources available on our website. So here is the QR code, which you are very welcome to scan and access all the information material which we have created. In April this year, we have launched an educational webinar series where we feature different topics for educational purposes of our stakeholders. It ranges from webinars on roadmap development, practical implementation of net zero carbon events framework in real life, but also targets very specific topics such as events logistics. And we actually plan to expand this webinar series because we see that the demand is there. And we are being requested for more capacity building programs in this regard. So we are working on capacity building programs in future, which we will hopefully launch next year. In August 2024, we have been successfully integrated on the UNFCCC's Global Climate Action Portal. Now, this is again another element of accountability because we as an initiative would report back to UNFCCC about the state of the initiative. And I will once again talk about the reporting at the end of my speech. In October this year, we have officially launched the AI-powered program, SHE Sustainable Hub for Event, which we've done in collaboration with GiveMe and the Strategic Alliance of the National Convention Bureau of Europe. Now we of course understand that developing all these hundreds and hundreds of pages of guidance documents and other material will be quite difficult to assess. This is why this opportunity with the AI-powered tool comes in handy. And this gives an opportunity for everyone to register free of charge on this platform. And I have the QR code here as well. And try it out how basically to ask specific questions on this website. And then you will get real life results in 20+ languages. So you're very welcome to try this AI-powered platform out. Now I have briefly spoken about the need to have a stable measurement methodology. And of course, the whole initiative, as I've mentioned, is about decarbonization of events. However, measurement is a very key topic in order to bring the emissions down, because you don't know where you are if you don't measure. So we are, of course, particularly happy to be here today and sign the MOU with GORD, because this will give all of us an opportunity in future to work together and use this tool in order to bring a bit more clarity to the business events industry. So we are very happy that this step was done, and thank you to GORD, thank you to UNFCCC, and of course UNEP for this collaboration. And as I've mentioned, the last milestone, which I would like to go through, is the reporting, because I cannot stress it enough how important this is for the credibility of the whole initiative. And I would like to visualize the how the reporting process looks like. So if you sign the pledge, as I've mentioned, you need to report back to the initiative at least every second year. Last year, we have opened the first reporting cycle. And of course, this year, by the end of the year, on the 31st of December, we will officially close the first reporting cycle. We will use the first 3 months of 2025 in order to produce a report ourselves with all the statistics about the state of the signatories, who has complied with the basic requirement and who has not. So this will be a very transparent report, and we will be very happy, of course, to share it with you and obviously with all the UN agencies as well. We will then, somewhere in summer next year, open the second reporting cycle, and this is how the initiative will structure the reporting in future. And I have mentioned the Global Climate Action Portal already. This is for us an instrument to report back openly about the state of the initiative and how many signatories are actually complying with the pledge. Now, the last slide, I would like to acknowledge the financial contributors. As you know, the initiative is completely free of charge. You are very welcome to join this initiative. It doesn't cost you anything, whether you are a simple supporter or a signatory. However, an initiative of such magnitude produces quite a lot of costs. And we really thank every single one of the financial contributors for their commitment and dedication. Because without you, and also without all those who work with us on this cause, this initiative will simply be not possible. So once again, thank you everyone who is contributing already. And of course, if you think about to contribute, you are very welcome to approach us anytime. And the last slide is on the left-hand side. We see a QR code to join us in case you are not yet part of the initiative. And on the right, you see a LinkedIn code. You are very welcome to scan it and to be in touch. So thank you so much for listening. And I would like to give the floor back to Henant.
Thank you. Thank you, Alex. Thank you very much for your nice presentation and taking us through the milestones of the JMIC. Milestones of the JMIC. And I think this is what the JMIC has come up with this initiative of net zero carbon events. I think this is we highly appreciate all the three associations of the JMICC who has taken up these things, and then hope that it will be a great contribution to the overall climate mitigation thing. So sorry for there are less presence here in physical, but just now we saw that more than 60 participants are there online, which are listening to this event. I think this is the lunch time here, and that's why the people are less. It's normally 12:30 to 2:30. It's less people are available. So my apologies for that. But yeah, going ahead with this session, now I would like to request the next presenter, Joseph Prakash. Joseph is the director with the Organization for Research and Development Board, and he will take us through the driving event industry through the net zero to top rank event calculator, that is GET. So he will explain that how the working is there, and then how you can do the it can contribute for the calculation and then the printing of the events. Joseph is the director at GORD and brings over 22 years of experience. He has the background of energy, environment, and the climate change. He has worked on various projects internationally and in India also. One of his assignments includes Kenya's national NDC development, climate finance strategies. Also, he has worked on more than 14 African countries for developing their emission models. He is a postgraduate of energy engineering and a certified energy auditor. Joseph has contributed for the global institutions such as the World Bank, UNDP, and AID. Joseph, please proceed. Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, the toughest presentation is to present during the lunch. There is like people have to choose for the food for thoughts and food for stomach. So really appreciate like the 50 participants who had chosen for food for thoughts, and obviously the participants here also really appreciate. Thanks Alex and thanks James and for the lovely presentation as well as the speech. And we really thank UNFCCC, UNEP for all the support and other presenters here. So as Alex had mentioned about what is the net zero carbon event, how it started, what is the journey, how it's going, what are the modalities.
We can't hear you, Joseph.
I hope the online participants can hear us because we had some issue on internet.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yeah, now it's okay. Okay, great. So let me share the screen, please. Just hold on. Okay, let me go ahead. we have any more technical issue or internet issue, let me try to finish it off. Okay, so about the brief background about green events tool. So green events tool, as Asa had mentioned, like it was developed basically from the initiative of Greening the Blue, along with UNFCCC. So GORD, we are the partnering organization for the all the three organizations have come together to develop this tool called Green Events tool. So basically, the tool has three components. One is the GE emission calculator, sustainability checklist, and certification. When we talk about certification, the certification can be either self-certification or third-party certification. So we'll go deeper one by one. So basically, the tool is developed to take care of the entire value chain of the events. So if you see a typical value chain of events, so there are three aspects. One is the pre-event, and during the event, and post-event. So in pre-event, there are a lot of activities which can happen, like venue construction, transportation, say logistics, and so on and so forth. Especially the material consumption, like a lot of materials gets consumed to, like in the fog, like a lot of materials get consumed to make the booths, make the pavilion, so on and so forth. And then during the event, the major portion is, or major concentration is on the venue, the energy consumption in the venue, or material consumption in the venue, or the water consumption in the venue. Plus the transportation related aspects. That means, so a lot of people come to the event from various places, for various countries. And when let's say for the COP event, people are come from various countries, and also there's accommodation arranged for them. They stay for 3 days, 4 days, 10 days. So during the event, the emission sources may be mainly on energy, transportation, and accommodation. Then there's the post-event activities, especially related to dismantling the venue or the temporary structures, disposals, and site restoration. And more important is publishing and reporting of the event related things. So if you see, the green events tool comprehensively covers all the sources. It's covered the source of for venue, from flight, ground transportation, communication, audiovisual production, that is mainly with respect to the exhibition materials, pavilions, booths, accommodation, and catering. And as you know, any kind of GG emission accounting requires scope 1, scope 2, scope 3. So all the three kind of emissions are covered in GED. Okay, so little more deeper. So GED has two versions. One is basics and advanced. So it can happen that like means an event organizer or a event manager has been commissioned to do and do a calculation for an event on GED emission. So he may not be knowing entirely about sustainability and how to do it. So we have a basic version which has very minimal values, minimal input values, which needs in this basic version. Say, for instance, for venue, we need the type of venue and say the what do you call the area of the venue. From there, we have some assumptions for which we can calculate the energy consumption of the or CO2 emission related to the venue energy related aspects. Similarly, in advanced version, more input data is required. It's more accurate in nature. And what happens is like for a long journey, always we advise that people to go for advanced version. But to start the journey, people can try the basic version, get used to the tool, get dirty in their hands with the tool, and then get more knowledge and go ahead. And all the type of events can be covered: exhibitions, fair, conferences, like what is happening in the COP, cultural event, musical event, and sports event. And the methodology which is adopted for calculation is mainly the UNFCCC methodology along with UNEP Secretariat and the other internationally recognized ones. And the emission factors which is used are mostly the open source emission factor we like to use so that people can go and check it. And also most recognized, internationally recognized emission factors like ICAO's emission factor or Tempra's emission factor or the IFI's emission factor, which is also recognized by UNFCCC and other reputed organizations. The three key principles is the tool is complete in nature in terms like it covers the entire value chain of the events. It's consistent, transparent. So because if we want to have a good transparency in the entire process, so we try to use mostly the open source related emission factors so people go and can check it. As I said, the second component is the sustainability checklist. This is a very comprehensive checklist which has around almost 10 elements of aspects which covers an event, coming from supply chain, the indoor environment, climate action, energy, water. So in all areas, the event has been assessed in the checklist, and it's a very comprehensive checklist developed by UN organization. The user checklist is a 10-dimensional one, which gives a rating of bronze, silver, or gold based upon the sustainability practices which are planned to be implemented during the event. And as I said, like this is the reporting and certification process. So the one which is leftmost is the GET assessment report, where like whenever you do a GET emission calculation, you get this report with on the impact areas very well clearly written. Then there's a self-certification. So here people can go for self-certification and also for the third-party certification. So obviously third-party certification gives more credibility, but if they want to start a journey, they can go for self-certification. Okay, so there are already many users using GET tools. So people can question that like, have you really used for any event to calculate the emissions to check whether really the tool works? Yes, we have done it. So if you see the next slide, we have used this tool in multiple big events. One event going to share the ATP tournament, the leading ATP tennis tournament, annual tournament happens in Middle East. So the tool was used along with other protocols like the WBST protocol was also used parallelly to see the accuracy of the tool to carry out the quality control and quality check of the emission model, which is used basically for the which is the brain or backbone of the entire tool. So in any tennis tournament or any sports event, if you see the emissions are mainly in different sources like venue, ground transportation, international travel, food and beverages, and material consumption. So when you initially started the study, everyone was saying that it's a tennis tournament, and obviously in Middle East, when the local players will be very less, the tennis players. So almost like 150 players come play for 7 days. So initial thoughts were that it will be the international travel having the maximum emissions. So that was the mindset with which we also started doing the study, and we started the study thinking that the international travel will be maximum because 150 players come from various parts of the globe, especially from you. Actually, this tournament happens in February. That means all the people, most of the players come from Australian Open, which happens in January, and then that means the emissions are more higher. Even though the player is from Europe, he travels to Australia for to compete in Australian Open, and from there he travels to Qatar, and from here, like he either travels to Dubai or to Europe for the next tour. But quite a surprising thing for us was the accommodation was the maximum emissions. Okay, so obviously it was quite it was like really a bolt from the sky. We were not aware of it initially. So the other aspect was the material consumption. Okay, so means this all breaks the normal theory that like say an event will have maximum emissions in transport or each event is special. So we need to do a proper analysis to see that how can we can develop a roadmap for the particular event. So here the material was synthetic fiber they were consuming for all the branding related aspects, whatever branding you see here. So in similar way, they do a lot of things for the tennis tournament. All the branding had a synthetic fiber which had a high emission factor. So if you see here, the maximum emissions were from the accommodation and for material consumption for others. Okay, so what? Obviously, we had developed a roadmap for them how to reduce it, but what the study through? So there were no surprises because we thought the tool is absolutely fantastic initially. Yes, but when it came to the truth that there was only 0.5, sorry, only 5% difference was observed when the emissions were calculated using GET and using the WBC guidelines. And that too, this 5% emission factor, whatever the 5% difference was mainly observed in international travel. The reason is that like means the emission factor what we use is ICAO value for, but in ICAO value there are like certain more, there need to go more drill down to have the better emission factor accuracy. Okay, so whether like UNFCCC, UNEP, now our partner Net Zero, if we talk about the tool is the best. everyone talks like that their son and kids are always best, right? Like no one say that like the neighbor's kid is good. So obviously we have this notion that like the company who is owning the tool or managing the tool will talk good about the tool. But this year we are really happy to share that an independent study was done by Institute for Sustainable Events. They evaluated 40 tools across the globe, 40. Among the 40 tools, they top rank GET as the one of the 5 tools, the top 5 tools. So really, it's a moment of honor for us to understand that we have been one of the top 5 tools globally, and obviously each tool out of the 5 had certain plus and certain say improvement points. We also had certain say highlights and improvement points. So this independent study was done by Institute for Sustainable Events, and our tool was ranked very good in a lot of features, like say with respect to the dashboard, with respect to the comparison, verification. So they did quite a bit assessment, and they said what we measure. So these are the comprehensive elements which are there. We measure energy, means I'm talking about the tool. A tool helps in measuring the emission related to energy, water, waste, transport, site vehicles, materials, food and beverages, travel accommodation. The digital part is the one which was like a little missing. But anyhow, we are now partnering with UN organization, and with especially the ITU, we are trying to develop certain things on that aspect also. Yes, there is scope on materials to further drill down and get more details on material related consumption, but it's a journey which happens everywhere. As like Alex had mentioned, the net zero carbon event has like 5 elements, or if you do any kind of say a journey for low carbon events or journey for net zero carbon events, it has like 5 aspects. In net zero also has this 5 aspects. So in the right side, you can see how GET aligns to this all these 5 elements of the net zero carbon event, the methodology or the thought process. So one is setting the target and establishing baseline. Yes, GET can help in establishing the baseline emissions. Okay. Develop a net zero roadmap. Yes, because we have a sustainability checklist which proves a lot of idea that what are the best practices available among the 10 material forms which are there. 10 dimensions of assessment of sustainability is possible for an event, so which helps in developing the roadmap, implementing the sustainability intervention. As I said, like the checklist helps in that. Regularly measure report, because the GET is for that. For baseline, that is the anti-exposed emissions that can be measured very clearly. Verify and certify. So the tool also gives a provision for verifying the emissions as well as certifying the emission either self or third party. Okay, so what we had discussed and agreed is that like JMIC has means broadly 3 kind of say members or 3 kind of signatories. One is signatory who focus on meeting industry basically. One is the signatories who have more towards exhibition and expose industry, and one is the convention centers. So the initial plan is like our actions will be more focused on the meeting group. So we're getting feedback from through JMIC from various organizations involved in mostly on meetings, conferences, congress. So and then we'll try to say upgrade certain emission factors which we are planning, and say you need us to update sustainability checklist and reclassify some reporting categories, improve data analytics, and provide all training and support. And then slowly the next phase will cover the integration of exhibition group feedback. And we sincerely hope that this relationship, when we meet the next COP, we'll have more updates to see, and we could understand that from the 500 signatories from net zero carbon, there's a potential of almost 10,000 events or meetings which can be potentially can use GET, or potentially can go into the direction of the net zero carbon. So thank you so much for this opportunity. We look forward for this partnership to materialize and mutually benefit each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph, for taking us to the operation of GET, how it operates and how it can contribute for the calculation of the emissions for the event. And also thanks for giving the comparison that how it is comparison and the status that it has been ranked as one of the out of 40, it has been ranked one of the best tools for the calculation of the carbon emissions for the events at fifth one. So now we look forward for the multiple things in this case, and then this initiative, that is the net zero initiative. And then moving forward, that we'd like to now we'd like to move to our next presenter, who is also a part of the net zero initiative, Mr. Kai Attendau. He is the CEO of UFI and will be presenting online on the low carbon pathways for the exhibition industry. So he is also the UFI is the partner for the net zero. And then Mr. Kai is the CEO of UFI, Global Association of the Exhibition Industry, with intensive leadership experience in events, marketing, and communication, including the senior roles in business Frankfurt. He has served as president of the Joint Meeting Industry Council and has recognized as top influencer and strategist in the global event sector. So let's move. I would like to hand over the floor to UFI, Mr. Kai. Thank you.
Hello and good morning from Europe to Baku and to COP29. Glad to be with you. But obviously, as an events professional, I'm also sad not to be there in person, because we know that meetings like these are about bringing together people to exchange and drive progress around issues. And it was this sense of empowerment that we felt back at COP26 when we took the Net Zero Carbon Events Initiative to this global stage for the first time. Thank you to UNFCCC, to all the UN bodies connected here today. Thank you to all you as our friends and partners on this journey for helping us to make the next step. Now, Alex explained on the journey net zero carbon events have taken, and James Rees, as my successor as the chair and president of JMIC, has elaborated on where we stand with the initiative. I just want to stress that this has become the most global, most far-reaching and largest ever collaboration around any issue we've seen in the exhibition and business events industry, ever. And this is because essentially the climate crisis puts all of us to a test and asks every industry, every sector a simple question. When it comes to the carbon crisis, are you a part of the problem or are you a part of the solution? And as the events industry, back when we launched Net Zero, we said we need to be on the good side. We need to be part of the solution. So we developed the pledge, we developed the initiative, and we put together many, many minds from across our industry and produced all these materials that Alex has mentioned that we now make available through the powers of artificial intelligence. And I was following the chats over here in the meeting. And Helen, yes, it would be great to get the information about the Green Events tool into that platform as well. Bringing together insights, collaboration is key for every progress here. And this is why I'm thrilled by today's announcement and the collaboration between Net Zero Carbon Events and the Green Events tool. We need to align around measurement and documentation to show how we drive progress. Now, the beauty of a trade show, of a central marketplace, is that it brings everyone together to facilitate trade. And if we can bring together an industry in one space at one time, yes, we create a carbon footprint, but we create a carbon footprint that we can measure and work with and reduce the impact we produce on site all the way down to net zero events by 2050, the latest. There is new data out from our colleagues at the German Trade Show Association, AUMA, just a few days ago, that on average, 1 day for a business person at a trade show saves that person at least 5 business trips they would have to make otherwise to drive business. So it is fair to say that bringing people together at central meeting places, at central marketplaces, is actually aggregating carbon emissions and minimizing an overall carbon investment into any development. Measuring the footprint, reducing the footprint on site is key to the work of the next years. This is a great start today. From all of us at UFI, congratulations to everyone involved. The road ahead will remain difficult because announcements are easy and implementations are tricky. We've been through that for the last 3 years with the Net Zero Carbon Events Initiative, and we've known and we've learned how to grow this collaboration muscle. There are, again, and as always, people who prefer not to work together with a big industry movement. There are people who like to talk it down. There are people who have their own individual interests. We at UFI firmly believe that those who do not join a joint collaborational effort are not doing themselves a service and not doing the initiative a service. Bring your voices to the table, join the movement, because only together we will succeed. And divided we fall, united we stand. There's a lot of truth in this simple saying. The challenge ahead is so big that it needs a united response. Net Zero has proven to be the united response hosted by our industry super body, the Joint Meetings Industry Council. On behalf of UFI, we are committed to continuing to support Net Zero Carbon events. We're eager to see where this new collaboration will take us. And we are eager to do our share in driving the development further. All the best to all of you in Baku. Have good meetings, good success for this COP. We need it, as let's not forget, this is going to be the first year where we already reached the 1.5 degree barrier and our planet keeps getting warmer. Thank you for your attention and back to you.
Thank you, Kai. A very nice presentation, and then taking us through the what's happening in that. And then we are thankful to you for the supporting this initiative of the Net Zero and taking it forward, and then contributing to the global decarbonization through the joint exhibition council and this. Many thanks. So now we are at the end of this our session. The last presentation is there. We'll move to the next presenter, Dr. Senthil Gopinath, CEO of the ECA. We'll be presenting online on the topic of related to the greening the meeting industry. Dr. Senthil is the CEO of International Congress and Convention Association, brings over 20 years of leadership experience in the meeting and association industry, including the roles such as CEO of the Sri Lanka Convention Bureau and VP of the COP29, recognized as Global Business Event Strategist of the Year. Okay. Of the year and leads the ECA global network of over 1,150 members in 100+ countries. So, welcome, Dr. Senthil, and please start with it.
So, Dr. Senthil is in an area in a different time zone, which is almost 2 o'clock in there. Yeah, so he has a video message for us. So, we will play that and then discuss. So, Paras, can you please do that?
Greetings, everybody. I'm indeed glad to join this great panel to talk about the commitment of Joint Meetings Industry Council through Net Zero Carbon. When we started this initiative a couple of years back, it was always a concern, a thought process that how do we move forward? And I'm glad to say that with the great contribution by Joint Meeting Industry Council, the entire meeting industry, we have forged ahead in our future plan. Most importantly, the pledges made by the meetings industry, global meetings industry, and particularly talking about some of them are members of International Congress and Conventions Association, ICA, where I represent, clearly demonstrated that they want to be a part of this net carbon zero initiative and in a purposeful manner, looking at the fundamentals of sustainability in their organizations and how to implement and to create awareness within the organization, and importantly, invest to achieve those goals. This joint grouping within our industry, with over 700 signatories, have clearly proved that we can achieve when we work together. The meeting industry it creates huge socioeconomic development across the world, contributes to over $2.4 trillion economic contribution. So them being part of this initiative, Net Carbon Zero initiative, is fundamentally very important so that the objective of net zero carbon can be achieved. And I'm glad to say that, like all my other colleagues mentioned a while ago, that this initiative, as was brought in by JMIC together, involving the entire industry stakeholders, has gone into the phase 2. We are looking at how do we really implement and how do we really transform the pledges into actionable items. And that's what we are talking at this COP29 this year, together with all the colleagues. That's what the industry also looking forward, because the industry have got a lot of changes in terms of workforce, in terms of procedures, and in terms of standard operating procedure. Now they are looking at committing themselves further, the conference centers, the convention bureaus, the meeting organizers who form as part of ICA membership and many other associations across the world. They are looking at how do they go into the junior most level in the organization in educating to follow step by step when they organize events or when they organize their customers' events. How do they implement the sustainability practices? So the Net Carbon Zero initiative will give them have given already a roadmap. And in that roadmap, they all started implementing every actionable item. But now to talk about the phase 2, to talk about the tools, how they use the tools, and also satisfy the requirement of their customer, and more on a long-term basis, how they transform their business entities. And I'm glad to say that larger meeting organizations who drive huge amount of economic growth across the world have understood this concept really well, and they started making investments in their companies and in their organizations, and also looking at awareness among their staff members, and also looking at awareness among their customers. So it's not only the customer requirement, the organizations, members of ICA, members of many other meeting industry organizations have thought, have understood the importance and also started creating awareness among their customers. So it's a two-way street. So they are looking at not only implementing the procedures on demand, they're also looking at how to create awareness among their customers so that the customers also will fulfill the requirement of the venues, of the bureaus in cities and countries, and also the meeting organizers. So both stakeholders get together and try to achieve, by implementing the tool, a greater best practices so that we can contribute to this planet as an industry to achieve the climate goals, and also looking at the next phase of net carbon zero, optimize it level. I can give you an example. Some of the meeting organizers and the customers within the meeting industry have initiated looking at the sustainability net zero carbon practice part of the RFP. So what they're doing it is that they are including into the request for proposal, the RFPs when the customer brings the request proposal, they are educating the customer. We would like to have that part of it so that they can showcase purposeful and sustainable actions of those organizations to the community, and how they're engaging the local community. So they get an opportunity to bring that together. Similarly, the customers are demanding more and more. The association community is looking at putting the net carbon zero best practices, sustainability best practices, part of the RFP, so that when they send the request for proposal to our members, they know that part is fulfilled. So from every angle, we are seeing this initiative is taking shape. So I think we should be proud of as a community that we put this together. And I'm really thankful to UNFCCC by taking the leadership and guiding and giving us a position in the dialogue like this at COPs, so that at every COP level, when we create these awareness, our industry gets more convinced and industry wants to be part of it, and more pledges will be made and more contributions will be made. My message to the ICA community and wider meetings industry community, it's a long road down there. You need to make more and more investment. You need to create more and more awareness. Only then we can go to the phase 3s and the phase 4 and achieve our objective. Similarly, I urge UNFCCC to continuously support us so that under your leadership, we can move forward. So thanks to JMIC and the entire speaker panel here for doing a great work, and looking forward to yet another great year in achieving our objectives. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So we have a lot of participants, almost 45 online participants, really great. It really helped. Thanks to them for their time and effort and support provided. So we have subsequent events, COP, how it works. We have a lot of subsequent events. So there are a lot of queries in the chat. We try to answer whichever is possible from our end. But I'll request my colleague to share our email ID. So whatever queries are there, and as Mr. Sindhu has said, it's a journey which we are starting. So there will be obviously a lot of queries, a lot of things, and it's a long journey to go. So we look forward for all kind support and so from all stakeholders. So whatever queries you have, you can put in the chat, or you share our email ID so that you can feel free to send to us, like so that we can reply to each other on them, so that we can maybe complete the session with our closing remarks from Hemant, and so because there will be a subsequent session which needs to be carried out. So I'll request our moderator Hemant to have the closing remarks so that we can close the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. So it was a great event. This one, a lot of things we understand, and then main event was the signing of this MOU, and then taking it through the more than 40, 45, almost 60 people were once one time was there. So I think we hope that there will be a big traction in taking up this GET event to the further next level. And I think this initiative of the net zero carbon events, I was just thinking that it can be for the anything that is like cement, net zero cement industry, it can be automobile. So it has a big scope. That means we are thankful to you, JMIC, and the other partners that they have taken up this initiative and contributing. And then in the last presentation, so they still mentioned that customers are also asking for the sustainability and the things related to the carbon. So that is also a good thing. Thank you very much. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, James. Thank you, Suri, everyone on the panel. Thank you very much. So we declare that we would like to close this event. And once again, many thanks. Thanks to everyone. Thank you. Let's have a joint picture.